every culture develops its own way of war. Societies where land is plentiful but manpower is scarce tend to favor a ritualized conflict in which only a few warriors actually fight, but their fate decides that of everyone. The flower wars of the Aztecs and the amok combats of the Indonesian islanders caused relatively little bloodshed because they aimed to seize people rather than territory, to increase each warlord's available manpower rather than waste it in bloody battles. With or without battles, however, as the Prussian officer and military theorist Karl von Clausewitz wrote in the 1820s, war is always an act of force to compel the enemy to do our will. Many non-Western military traditions have displayed great continuity over time. Even in the 1960s, anthropologists could study the highland peoples of Irian Jaya in Indonesia who still settled their disputes in the same ritualized way as their ancestors, but by then most other military cultures had been transformed by that of Europe and the former European colonies in the Americas. The Western way of war, which also boasts great antiquity, rests upon 5 principal foundations: technology, discipline, an aggressive military tradition, eclecticism, and finance. The primacy of technology and discipline. The armed forces of the West have always placed heavy reliance on superior technology, usually to compensate for inferior numbers. That is not to say that the West enjoyed universal technological superiority. Until the advent of musketry volleys and field artillery in the early 17th century, the recurved bow used by horse archers all over Asia proved far more effective than any Western weaponry. Nevertheless, with few exceptions, the horse archers of Asia did not directly threaten the West, and when they did, the threat was not sustained. Nor did all the advanced technology originate in the West. Many vital innovations, including the stirrup and gunpowder, came from Eastern adversaries. Military technology is usually the first to be borrowed by every society, because the penalty for failing to do so can be immediate and fatal. But the West seems to have been preternaturally receptive to new technology, whether from its own inventors or from outside. Technological innovation and the equally vital ability to respond to it soon became an established feature of Western warfare. A technological edge has rarely been sufficient in itself to ensure victory. As the Swiss military writer Antoine-Henri Jomini wrote in the early 19th century, "The superiority of armament may increase the chances of success in war, but it does not of itself win battles." Even in the 20th century, the outcome of wars was determined less by technology than by better war plans, the achievement of surprise, greater economic strength, and above all, superior discipline. Western military practice has always exalted discipline as the primary instrument that turns bands of men fighting as individuals into soldiers fighting as part of organized units. Naturally, the other factors play their part in the West as elsewhere, notably kinship, religion, patriotism, and gender. Many military formations, even in the 18th century, came from the same area and served under their local leaders almost as an extended family. The Protestant cause proved a potent rallying cry for much of the 16th and 17th centuries in Northern Europe, and "Your country needs you" and similar slogans have assisted recruiting down to our own days. A survivor of the Italian Expeditionary Force, sent by Benito Mussolini to fight in the Soviet Union in 1942, recalled that "our ethic was the honor of our hometown, of our valley, of our battalion, which included our school friends, our cousins, the brothers of our sweethearts. That is what made us such magnificent warriors." Nevertheless, in the West, discipline, in the twin forms of drill and long-term service, has incorporated and transcended all other concepts. The hoplites of 5th century Greece, who were farmers first and soldiers second, turned out so regularly for battle in their phalanxes